and compound interest. Simple interest is a basic formula that we need to remember so that we can find what the interest is going to be on a certain amount of money. So the formula for simple interest is I equals P R T. Now in this formula, the I is the interest, the P is the principal, or the starting amount, and the T is the time, and that will be in years, some amount of years. Okay, now another way to look at the same formula is if we want a total amount with interest added. Okay, so if we want the interest added to the amount, then our amount is going to equal the principal times 1 plus RT. The next type of formula we use is the compound interest formula. Compound interest formula is a lot more complicated. To find the amount of an investment, it's going to equal P times 1 plus R divided by N to the power of N times T. Okay, so what each of these means is the A is the amount you're looking for. The P is still the principal amount, or the starting amount. The R is still the rate, and the T is still the time in years. Now the only new thing is the N. The N is what we call the number of compoundings. So what we need to note for the number of compoundings is that annually is 1. So N is 1. Semi-annually N is going to be 2, twice a year. Quarterly is going to be 4, because quarter means 4. So it's 4 times a year. And the last one that we might have is monthly, which there's 12 months in a year, so that would be 12. I guess there is another one if it was daily or weekly. Weekly would be 52, because there's 52 weeks in a year, and then, daily. There are 365 days in a year. So those would be the possible options on our compoundings. So we're going to do some examples here. The first one, we have $34,100 at 4% for 3 years, and it's simple interest. We want to find the interest, solve the interest problems. So we know simple interest, I equals P times R times T. So I just fill in what I have. So I need to know that my P is my starting amount. So that would be $34,100. My R is my rate, which is 4%, which I need to write as a decimal, so I'm going to move the decimal point, 0.04, and my time is my number of years. So that would be 3. So then I just fill in what I know. So 34,100 times my rate, 0.04, times my time, which is 3. And then at this point, I can just type it straight into the calculator. And we would get 4,092. So that means that the interest is $4,092. For this next one, we have 210 at 8% for 7 years, and again, it's simple interest. So I have I equals P times R times T, and my P is going to be my initial amount, 210. My R is my rate, 8%, which I write as a decimal, 0.08. And my time is my amount of years, so 7. Fill in what I know, 210 times my R, which is 0.08, times my time, which is 7. And at this point, you can type it into the calculator, and we get an amount of 117.6. So that means that the interest on $210 at 8% for 7 years is going to be $117.60. So that would be your final answer. Alright, for this next one we want to find the total amount, and it's a compound formula. So we're going to have A equals my principal times 1 plus R divided by N to the power of NT. So this one we're going to have to do in steps. So the first thing is we're going to find our P. So that would be my P. And then my R is my percentage. My compoundings is my N. And that would be 2 because semi-annually is 2. And then my time is 3. So I'm going to fill that into my formula. So I have A equals P, 7,300, times 1 plus my R, 0.07, over my N, which is 2, to the power of N, which is 2, times my T, which is 3. Okay, so I'm going to do this in steps. And the first thing I'm going to do is my exponent simplification and the parentheses. So 1 plus 0.07 divided by 2, which is 0.035 to the power of 6, 2 times 3. So the next step, we have 7,300 times 1.035 to the power of 6. Now I'm going to do the exponent. So I have 7,300 times 1.035 to the power of 6, which we're going to round to 1.229. That's close enough, but it keeps going, but just round it to about 3 positions. And then you multiply that times your 7,300. So we get 8,971.7, or 70, and that is a dollar amount, and that is the total amount that's going to be accumulated after 3 years. So that's your final answer. And the last example here, we have $1,030 at 4% compounded semi-annually for 2 years. So again, I'm going to have A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N to the power of NT. So I'm going to have N, or P, equals my initial amount, 1,030. R equals my rate, 0.04, which is the percentage part. Compounded semi-annually, which is N. Semi-annually means 2. And time is 2 years. So I just fill in what I know. A equals my principal, 1,030, times 1 plus 0.04 divided by N, which is 2, to the power of N, which is 2, times T, which is 2. And then I'm going to start solving one step at a time. 1,030 times 1 plus 0.02, because that's 0.04 divided by 2, to the power of 2 times 2 is 4. So the next step, 1030 times 1.02 to the power of 4. And then I do my exponents, and I get 1030 times about 1.082 and just round it off to 3 places. And then I just solve that, giving me about 1,114.46. So that would be the total amount in the account of the investment after 2 years. So that's your final answer. So those are your notes over simple and compound interest. Go through some practice problems. Make sure that you understand how to use each of these formulas so that you can do them on the quiz. So do some of these practice problems, then prepare for your quiz.